Um, but perhaps we have a bit more than half an hour for this table, because at the end we're going to have Jorge presenting the Health Hub platform. But perhaps we can start by put the topics on with the last question on the previous table, and is, which would be your list to Santa or list to the three wise men on what an instrument to fund the IPP should have in your country and for the European Commission. So if we can start with a very short statement on what you would ask for them to take into account. Can anyone?
No.
Or
I don't know exactly what to ask them, because maybe you'd like to reformulate the question. Ask them about what? Because if we are too focused, in my opinion, about financial instruments, and maybe it's it's a very simple way to think about innovation procurement. And if we ask them just with those glasses, what can we do, or what can you do more, better with your financial instruments? It's more or less the same approach as we do when we look to a company and we try to find savings, and we are not looking to the right aspect of what is our problem, what is the operation that gives us less efficiency. And from my opinion, and perhaps I'm wrong, I don't know. Maybe we can get more insights from the audience, but also because of my experience with another European project, where I found and I see the Commission very, very committed to IPP, which is the Procure to Innovate project, the only project that was financed by the Commission to promote to set up new competence centers for IPP. I would say that I cannot recommend anything or identify anything special to improve the instruments that the Commission already have, because I think it's not a problem of instruments. It's a problem to raise the professionalization of this function, to understand the strategic aspect of the function, and this is not depending on the Commission. It's depending on I think, in my opinion, the Commission. What we can ask them is to, okay, help us to understand our governments, our politicians, what is the importance, how can we translate your goals, our international commitments, how do you think that innovation underline better the goals of our policy, European policy, in order to understand better how can we use procurement strategically for the European commitments. I think there are countries that are doing their job, why? Because, for example, we need for these transversal societal goals. I think they are very useful for driving innovation, and public markets, they can do their role, that can play interesting roles. So what I would suggest is that maybe we need more competence, need more people knowing what is this, instead of people knowing how to use the instruments. So we are in front of people, or at least 7 partners, I think, that are trying to improve what they think that are the best instruments they found 2 years ago. Maybe they are not the same anymore, or it's not that instrument. That's why I was asking the question from Lithuania. The same question can be done to Portugal. Since the beginning of this project, we thought that maybe this instrument that we choose to improve after 1 year of learning, because we are all learning, it's not very relevant. Maybe we need to find, we can improve them, of course, we are going to do it, we're trying to do it, we have a commitment to make an action plan to that. But it was clear for us that, and we took the chance, we took the opportunity from the Commission to stay in another project. So I think the Commission is doing, it's not easy for them, I understand, I'm not a politician, but what I see is that my answer regarding the instruments, I could not say that, okay, there is a gap on this instrument, it's very difficult to use, because I don't think that this is the question. I think countries have to do much more than to use the instruments. Because in principle, in my opinion, in principle, if procurers, that's the reason why countries don't have instruments, and they will not have national instruments to support procurement, financial instruments, because in principle, if from the procurement side there is a value, an added value on this, to find new solutions, to find innovation, to procure innovation, and if it gives value for money, why it is necessary instrument, financing instruments? Why? It's because something wrong is happening, something the procurers are not competent enough yet, and there is a need to, as George mentioned before, there is a need and an effort to decrease the risk. That's all. But the principle is there, should be there. In principle, there should not be needed a need for money for something that gives value. And this is, maybe this is also a provocation. Let's see what people say.
If anyone in the audience...
I provoke.
Thank you, Luis. Yes, it is 1 year learning. You are right, and from the Lithuanian sides, I would like to change or to prove 2 things in the process of the PCP, and after that we will be happy absolutely. So it depends on the goal. So if the goal of state is to encourage business with the new ideas coming from the public sector, so all public sector should be responsible for these ideas and for this very important process to help business be more active in R&D activities. But if the goal is not only to contracting authority create very new product, and so that is very other opinion. So we participated because of the goal of the state. And we had a lot of ideas, and I think that that it is a very good way to improve these ideas by this money, because without this money, these ideas will be only on the table. So, but if 2 things will be changed or maybe clarified, so because of the last stage of PCP, so if we would have more freedom about the decisions, it would be nice for us to leave this new product for ourselves, and only after that to make the decision about the future. So the first point, and the other point, if our agency or state budget will co-finance this project. So 85% coming from the EU or 90%, and 10 or 15% coming from the state budget. So in such way, state helps public authority to create ideas and to help business and to participate in this process, to involve a lot of smart people in this process together with the business. But if we have 15% coming from the public, from the contracting authority, and we could use this product, so what we should do with it? So I would like to suggest some concretely points in our regulation document, and maybe to have more discussion between our responsible organization. I don't know if it is a misunderstanding among our institutions as MITA, Ministry of Economy, with the European Commission. Maybe it's only local problem, maybe. Maybe it's we are misunderstanding how European Commission would like to do this process. So it would be nice to, and if we will decide these 2 points, we will be happy to maybe create more IPC ideas and so on. But if not, it is maybe a question.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel exactly what is your need, and we can understand, and I think many countries have the same problem. Why should I invest? What can I do with these prototypes if I cannot buy them? And I have to open. I'm very happy. You both have talked about this in the first round. And I think we have a new procedure that can, but I think it's good to don't mix the instrument with procurement procedures. What is new now in the code and in the law is, and we have this topic in the, so it was very helpful your reaction. We have an innovation partnership now procedure, which is a procedure, is not an instrument. It's something new through which the procurer can now procure something that come from research or in a different level, until the end with the same procedure, without opening any more competition. This doesn't solve your problem, because is the problem that doesn't solves part of the problem, because now you can develop something. It's legal to develop something from the root. It doesn't matter if the root is like this or like that. It's not a question. It's something from a certain side of development until the end. I'm not experienced enough, and I challenge anybody here, because this procedure is very new. There are no Finnish partners. They have perhaps more experience, but what we listen in Finland, they perhaps are pioneers on this, but it's not an easy procedure, because it can be tricky without experience to put in a very professional way how you segregate, how you select these solvers or these companies. But it solves part of this problem, which is okay. Now I can with one single procedure to buy from the one to whom that offer the best solution, the one that fulfills my needs. But it doesn't need, I don't know if the Commission will ever develop a financial instrument to support innovation partnership. With the information I have, I don't have any opinion that it will come. So maybe it's something that national governments have to address. If it's a nice procedure, how do we will open? It was Fernando. Our first innovation partnership. It was launched two weeks ago. So, and nobody. There is no financial instrument to support this. So this gives you an example of. It depends. It depends very much. It depends very much. What is the effort? If it's there are countries that perhaps $500,000 is a problem. There are hospitals that $500,000 is not a problem. In our case, our innovation partnership is something about 200,000. Let's see what innovation partnership it is. Doesn't matter. So what I mean is that it's not an obligation. So that's why I put address exactly the principle. In principle, everybody, it can be performed without financing, but it depends very much of the effort of what is the effort on the development phase. That's why perhaps the recommendation of George for those that are beginners and need to create examples and afterwards to create believers and afterwards to enlarge the group and create followers. Maybe what is advisable is to simplify, try to find, try to work first with I think both races have to go in parallel because we cannot avoid the reality. If there are very, very important challenges in the health sector to develop vaccines or something stronger, we cannot avoid this reality. But to create the spirit, the context for this new approach from procurement side, I think it's a good idea to try to find solutions, try to find challenges that can become a snowball afterwards. Sorry if I...
Thank you.
Please cut me immediately my speech, because otherwise people from Peninsula Iberica, they like to talk.
I believe Andre had something to say related to this issue.
I would like to do a short remark concerning Lithuanian practice, and I think we have a common problem and common challenge, but in my mind I think that Europe structural funds money is not fit to innovation procurement, because
so
it's not fit. Not fit.
Okay.
Because in Europe structural money is when you apply for structural funds money, you have to precisely know for which is the goal and what exactly you receive. And if we look on innovation side, we have a lot of state aid programs. For instance, in Latvia, we have technology transfer center, we have competence center, we have a lot of. And there is these all instruments assist innovation, but here we talk about a little bit about different, how public sector could encourage private sector to come in innovation sector. And there is, I think, is the common problem with Lithuania, what we have in Latvia is that who will take risk and how we share the reward, how we share the benefit. And therefore, I assume in my mind, if I would be minister, I do value for money, real value for money analyze, and I really would look on projects and all financing sources what I have in innovation field. In Latvia case, I really would pay attention of Ministry of Education, which manage a lot of money for scientists, for fundamental research, for industrial research. I look on Ministry of Economy, I look on Ministry of Environmental and Protection, and look all this money what I have available for SMEs and for innovation. And then I look how much money I have in real in my state budget, and what can I do really on innovation side, and because it's value for money analyze, it's very good financial instrument which shows you not just only financial benefit, but it shows also social economic benefit. And innovation side, I think it's very important issue. We have to look not just look on profit and risk and how we share it, but we also have to look how we do our ecosystem for our startups, how we improve our local companies. And there's this question about salaries, and there's a question about talents in the region. Therefore, when I talk about innovation partnership from my perspective is that I don't see any serious problem on procurement process, no. Because we do, in Latvia, we deal with PPP. We do green purchase agreement. We do a lot of things. We buy a very large infrastructure projects. We know it. But the problem, how we do value for money and how we say that we really would like to buy our local company invention, and how we talk together. And also what I really learned yesterday from George's message, it's not the main message to do research, but do and be together in adoption side. And the adoption and this commercialization field and this phase, it asks a lot of effort and a lot of financing, and also maybe ask a lot of research. Therefore, I think my way is not to look on structural funds, but we have to innovation procurement look on our national budget, and we have to look on our state-owned enterprises, municipal-owned enterprises, where we have resource and we could do research and we could do adoption, and we could also have this risk, what we can lose, and also what happened when this, for instance, in Lithuanian case, if they are not use this prototype, it's not work. But if they write in agreement that if they will take any risk, for instance, 20%, but also they will share 20% of reward after 10 years, it would be worse.
I'd like to ask you, so if you look on national budget and wouldn't find anything, and you will find empty pocket, so what you will do with innovation in this case without European money? Absolutely. Because it is very, very normal position, because now states wouldn't invest in innovation from their state money typically. Maybe you know such country which invest national budget money, maybe only in USA.
I think there is a difference. Therefore, I'm saying we have to put on paper all financial instruments. So the problem is about state aid rule. Do you know the de minimis? It's a tricky question. The tricky question on that company can't receive state aid more than 200,000 euros per 3 years. If you deal with innovation, that means you will provide any assistance from public side, that all reduce interest rate or some program, it all goes on de minimis. Therefore, I'm saying that it would be very nice that private sector could apply for structural fund money in different programs in the Ministry of Economy and Ministry of Education, and do this innovation at a certain level. But the public sector, well, you announce a tender, you have money in your pocket, and you could do research with the private sector together, and also you could be on in adoption side, and after some years when this business plan will win and become millionaire, you will share the profit with them. It's my way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coming to you. I think we have to clarify certain types of things. I'm not sure if you agree, but state aid, we have to maybe we are talking about different things. When we procure something, it should be, we have to follow the rules of competitiveness. So companies from Latvia have to compete with companies from Portugal, from Spain, from everywhere. So there is no state aid involved. And this is clear. You open a competitive procedure, so everybody can apply, can bid a tender. It's a tendering process. It's not a subsidizing process. So structural funds, what we are discussing here, from financial point of view, or financial instruments that we can, like those that George addressed, like those that many of us perhaps are looking for, and from Lithuania, they use structural funds for their PCP. It's not subsidizing companies. Should be a transparent process, a competitive process where national companies can bid or international companies can bid. I think and this logical, and I agree very much with you. We are looking to that problem also, because when we encourage too much and we feel that this subject of procure innovation stimulate, we have to also to realize that it's not a function of the procurer to stimulate anything else than the service he has to perform to clients, to public citizens, with that value for money, the best value for money. So this is the function of the procurer. If countries think that for some political goals, political commitments, they like or they think that procurement can be used strategically to address some goals, like you said, social goals, environmental sustainability. These are the ones that I think countries, depending on their commitment, they can use strategically. But of course, organizations, they can also put themselves goals for efficiency, and they can procure innovation, or at least procure solutions. If the solutions are not on the market, the need promotes the, okay, it's an opportunity for innovation. It's not, yeah. So this is, I don't, it's just to
yes, I think the solution is very clear, that if you announce just tender and you will not cover costs, it's okay. It's open tender and everyone could apply. And usually you will do this on PPI, but not on PCP. Its situation is absolutely clear and no any problem. The problem, if you would like to do PCP, and you would like, and you see that companies don't have in a pocket 2 million for prototypes, and someone has to cover it, and you as the beneficiary are ready to cover it, and because it's a real product and or real service what you really need, and you are really see that you are ready to work together with the business side. This is a different. If you are cover investment cost, or you cover by part for certain percent from investment cost to develop prototype, it's a state aid, because it comes together. Because the question is always why you do it, but why you do PCP, but why you not announce PPI. For instance, maybe in Canada or in Germany you have such service, or why you do PCP? This is a question. Why I'm saying value for money is not just only sentence, but it's. I think it's in innovation procurement is a very important phase. What the public sector should do. In case if I would like to spend money to develop innovation in organization.
answer the question about why to do PCP instead of a PPI. Because
no, just I'm saying that in a PPI is no, I think it's no problem to launch procurement procedures and by private sector, but in PCP, I think without support in financial terms, we will not be managed innovation.
We can. I don't follow the reason, but okay.
Okay, there's another subject that we wanted to cover, and I think it's related to what you were saying about the financial instruments and what you were saying about value for money, that it's also important to take into account not only how you're going to finance the purchase itself, but also how you're going to support the people who are doing it. And apparently in Latvia, it's not a huge problem to have the knowledge on the procurement officers to do this kind of procurement, because you have loads of experience with PPP and so on. But what we saw in Romania is that you're putting a lot of effort into these kind of policies. And I wanted to ask you, besides like this knowledge that you're trying to share with the procurement officials on how to get involved in this, what other incentives can you provide them to do it, you know? Because maybe sometimes you have the knowledge, but still you don't have many incentives. They still perceive it as a risky practice, so they won't do it. So if you can build a bit on the program.
Yes, if I can, I would like to tell you the story of this project and of this public policy document. Well, I am specialized in the public policies elaboration, and I try to bring my knowledge to the National Agency for Public Procurement, because the public policy unit is new, was set up in 2016. And what we realized after the adoption of the new legislative package in 2016 was that the public buyers from Romania were not adequately informed and prepared to do this public procurement procedure. And what we did to find this, we made a national research, and also we had regional meetings with the public buyers, and we realized that we need to do some steps regarding their professionalization. And starting from that, we had a lot of meetings with the different stakeholders. For example, we realized that the training field in Romania, or the institutions that were regulating the training field, their responsibilities were very fragmented between a lot of institutions. And we tried for about 1 year to identify all the institutions, and we tried to understand their responsibilities. And we met with them, and we discussed all the problems with the associations of trainers and the associations of local, of the regions, and we started step by step to draft a public policy document. And we didn't know from the beginning what to put in this document, but the communication was very important. We tried to collect all the problems, and we chose some important actions that we want to make in the future. And first of all, we drafted an action plan and a public policy document. It is not approved yet because we have some legislative difficulties regarding this approval, but we hope to solve it very quickly. And also we wrote a project, a European funded project, in order to implement this plan. So yesterday I mentioned a few actions regarding the competencies of the public procurement, revising the occupational standard for them. But I want to tell you that we will establish 2 specific functions for the public buyers. One function will be named Public Procurement Counselor. And the people that are working in the public procurement department will have certain competencies and certain requirements when they will be hiring. And another function will be public procurement system public procurement counselor. This function will be for the employees of the National Agency for Public Procurement. They will have another set of competencies. And we want to align what we are doing with the European Commission project. I don't know if you know about SCF, European Competency Framework for Public Buyers. We are now in the advisory committee, and by 2020 they will, I think they will finish this competency framework at the European level, and we will try also to adapt this framework and to correlate with them. And from our research, what we understood is that most of public procurers didn't know about the innovation partnership procedure. And from the monitoring analysis did by our department in the period 2016 and 2018, the innovation partnership was not between the public procurement procedure used by public buyers. They are using open call for tenders or simplified procedure, and as Mr. Savola told me, they can see the potential in this procedure.
So do you think there are any incentives, for instance, Jorge was telling us about giving them a certificate as most innovative or something like that. Are you considering incentives to the public procurers that are engaging in PPI? Or
we want to do an analysis regarding the opportunity to establish a profession for the public buyers. We want to see if this is possible. We search, but at the European level, this profession doesn't exist. But it is very important. If you have a profession, you can do risk assurance. You can maybe raise their salaries. It is very important because they face other risks. So they need to be supported in this regard, and we try to do this. We will see what the study will show us.
Thank you. And regarding this topic, I don't know, Luis, if you had any other input from the workshop that you did from buyers, if there are other things that concern them when engaging in PPI that you can add to the Romanian experience, or was it pretty much the same?
Yes, so I'd say that it's the results, the learnings that came from this first work with this community brings exactly the same aspect. We can feel that there are procurers those that are more skilled are those that are more enthusiastic and more capable and more open to proceed. And so I think this professionalization or this raising of competences of procurers, of buyers, it's fundamental because this is a sophisticated procedure. We must understand that this is really something that can be sophisticated. So it's not a normal procedure, and I think it's a very interesting insight that you bring, which is innovation partnerships. There are some people that think that now we can do innovation with this procedure, and it's not the case. Most of the innovation procurement, we see it being done with competitive dialogues or open procedure. So it's not. I think this innovation partnership will bring us perhaps surprises. I don't know, but this is something that we are also analyzing in Portugal. Where is the place for that? And because we have to realize that maybe there are some innovations or some solutions, innovative solutions, with adaptation, that we don't really we don't need to bring innovation. We don't need perhaps this procedure. Maybe there is room for this, but we have to see.
Wait and see.
When, and where.
I think there's a question in there.
So I think we are looking to the results, we are not looking to the cause. If we are increasing the salaries of these guys who are working for acquisitions, we have to find money. To find money, you need innovation. So first of all, let's think with the mind of the innovators. I'm representing here the most innovative area, advanced research. We need very simple procedures. Our researchers are like kids. They have fantastic ideas. We can go on Mars. We can prepare training for the people going on Mars, but we don't know to write these complicated applications, and it's difficult to learn to do this. Imagine that we have 170 employees from more than 20 countries. They are speaking official language English, and they have to write these applications, these requests for acquisitions in Romanian. So we have to find at European level something to solve a huge problem, how to have advanced research, because we are not doing acquisitions for acquisitions. We are fighting in the markets. We are fighting against the United States, against Japan, against China. So if we'll have more difficult procedures than they have, our innovators will lose their capacity to be innovators. Let's change the angle of the approach. We need to take into consideration, first of all, the innovators, how they are thinking and what they need. One paper to explain what is there. If we don't believe that they are stealing, it's not necessary to increase the salary of the experts in public procurement, because they are not protecting against somebody who is stealing. We are just doing innovation. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very inspiring intervention. I'll write down. We're running out of time. I don't know, Anastasis, you had a comment on innovation culture, or do you think that it's covered already with?
Yes. Hello. Public procurement accounts for about, I think, 20% of GDP. GDP in Europe. The way in which public money is spent has a significant impact on the economy. The European Union has made a more friendly legal has made the legal framework more friendly, more innovation friendly. So regional and local authorities should use available tools and good practices to support public procurement of innovations. We must maybe we must systemize better our search for funding, European PCP and PPI projects. Also, we maybe try to include criteria, innovation criteria in our ICT procurement procedures, encouraging the market to provide innovation solutions for us. We need we need more smart cities, more green cities. We must encourage the market to, this is my opinion, to provide for us and for our children in innovation solutions.
Thank you. So I think those two.
Yes, just I will do a short remark regarding innovation, and it's I think it's really true that to apply for structural money or Horizon 2020, it asks very specific competence to write application, and normal scientists will never do it. This is in Latvia case, we don't have so much project in Horizon 2020 as we wish, and in Ministry of Education we have special goals that we support, that we would receive more financing from this program. But about innovation culture, I think what I learned yesterday is that in fact we have in management and in administration, in politician, we have very skilled and very high professionals in business field, business manager. But if we talk about innovation, we have to talk about innovation manager, and this is a little bit different because innovator should look on future but not on the real figures right now. And I think it's a common problem everywhere if we don't have innovation leader. And in Latvia case, I think if we find, and if we'll have, in my mind, we have innovation leader, and because I really believe in Latvia's forest company, because when I talk and when I see the specification, it was very, very professional, and they really dream and they know what they would like to receive. If we will have this innovation leader in our country, and they will manage and they will receive excellent results, out of 1 year we will receive another innovation procurement, because we need a leader who shows and who will win in the situation. I think leader is the main answer.
I would like to add something, because I think we are talking about culture, and culture is really the point. I would like to bring our colleague from Antti, and he tried to exactly. I will try to link with the gentleman from Romania also. I agree with you. Our innovators need simplified procedures. But we must not confuse applications. Perhaps you mentioned applications as something, as a tender. Yeah. But we are talking about tenders, and tenders are done by procurers or by buyers. And what we need perhaps for culture is, and this is something that perhaps in Finland you have a different culture naturally. We have something to change on the culture, which is communication between the market and the procurers. This is something that if the procurer cannot communicate correctly in an open way what are the needs, and try to translate these needs in something that the market really understand what they are procuring in the tenders, there will not be any way to supply something that I want. So culture, for me, to add something in our discussion, and we need to change this culture, is to move and is to promote this cooperation, these open dialogues. It can be open dialogues, it can be websites, it doesn't matter the mean. It should be adapted to the culture of the nation. It doesn't matter. What is needed is that the procurers, the buyer, can know exactly what the market can offer, and the market knows exactly what the procurer wants. And this is culture. This is and nothing else.
May I add something? Sorry, here. May I add something? I need to add something because you inspire me with one idea. Maybe we are connecting public procurement with final results. Because you are right, it's a communication process. And if we have good final results, this means the procedure was good. And it's possible to prove that we are in the market, because such kind of procurers in innovation, they know the market very well. They are not fishing in the market. They are going directly to the producers, the best producers they want, because they are a little bit crazy. Look at me. And they know exactly what they want, and they want the best. Sometimes they want more than humanity can offer. So let's help them to have very good results, and we shall have money.
Okay. Thank you. I think those last remarks were very inspiring. We have to finish now because we're running out of time, and I understand some people have to take flights very soon. But I just want to say thank you to all of you for sharing all your thoughts, all your experiences. I think I agree that the change of culture is one of the most important things in innovation procurement. And I think we're very lucky to be able to share this time with other people that are, as Jorge would say, in the trenches of innovation procurement. You're all right at the top of implementing new policies, new programs, innovation partnerships. So it's not a hard, it's a very hard task, but I think that this space to share thoughts and experiences are very important to increase the probability of success of all the projects that we are each involved in. So thank you very much, and I hope we can see you soon. In a bit, Jorge is gonna explain the platform, and after we're gonna have the closure by the Director General. So thank you very much.
Sorry for stealing 2 minutes from your time between you and the airport, but one of the issues that came the other day was how do I know that the innovation is in the market? We are part of another project, yet another European project called apart from In Demand, that is called InHealth Hub. And what we have done in this project is to do what we call the yellow pages of digital health. So we have mapped the digital health ecosystem, and we have tried to put here the different actors. As you can see here in the screen, that we have investors, SMEs, healthcare organizations, business supporters, experts. So the idea is that, say for example, that you want to see what kind of companies are already in the market, that they do, for example, active and healthy aging, which is the area that you want to promote your procurement of innovation. So just by going to this platform that is open and is for free, you can just click, I'm looking for e-health SMEs, and I'm looking for active and healthy aging, and I want to know all the ones that are doing that in Denmark, for example. So you identify maybe one, and here is a description with the website and so on. You can do that for different types of keywords. You can actually say, for example, I'm looking for actors that are good in cancer, and here you can get the results. So there are some resources, what I want to tell you, this is just an example, but there are resources that can help you to identify what is already available in the market if you are not familiar with that. That is one resource. Another resource is like, you know, in almost every region, for sure in every country, there are intermediate organizations like clusters, business associations, foundations, technological parks, that they know the market, that they are close to the companies. So if you are a challenger or you are a funder, a funding organization, you can contact this intermediate organization and ask them, can you please help me to see if this need is already available in the market, so it doesn't make sense to have an innovation procurement, I just do a normal procurement? Or what's the status, what is really valuable? Do you think there will be enough market for this innovation beyond this particular procurer that is asking for this innovation? So this is just to give you a glimpse of all the available resources. There is a lot of resources out there. The problem for us is that they are not aligned to the demand. They are usually aligned to the suppliers, to the SMEs and everything. What you guys are trying to do is to align things to the real needs, and that's the value. And I just want to finish, if you let me, with an optimistic message. Listen, public procurement of innovation is very difficult, full stop. We all know that. It's very difficult, but it's worthy. It is worthy. If we manage to overcome the difficulties and to establish it, it has a lot of value for the society, for the companies, and for the public administration itself. So please keep on trying, okay? Don't despair because it's difficult. We all know that it's difficult, but it's worthy. Please keep on trying. Good luck with your project.